we don't talk about women in the struggle because we, quote unquote, don't quantify what that looks like. And these frontliners, where do they go home to? Where do they draw their energy from? Who cleans their wounds when they're bleeding? Who cooks for them? Who encourages them to go out there and fight again? Who designs and who packs the things that they go out with? Who sharpens their swords when they go out to war? You know,
Who
it
hugs
is
them
in our
the morning
words.
when they're
Yeah.
leaving to go to the streets.
And when they come back wounded, who goes to visit them in the cells? When they come back home, yeah.
How was that? How was being Boniface Mwangi's wife to that identity? You having your own identity, and then that's the public persona. And this Njeri, wanted to be seen and known as Njeri, as a person, rather than as Boniface's wife.
I think I got used to being the third person. I'd gotten used to it, such that how refreshing it was to be my own person and to be called by my name was almost surreal. That haya. Yani, you can see me. Yani, really, you can see me. And not just me because as an attachment or an extension of, but by myself. And that's the same time I started venturing into other things. Because I was really also looking for myself. So that film helped find a bit of me and enabled me to keep on that path of searching for myself and what I want.
This is 2020.
This is 2020.
2010 is when you 2009,
Yeah.
Chantani, and then that's the time you're also having struggles in your marriage, and then Power 254 happens, and that's another whole experience. So you're saying during all this time, like those 10 years, you still got lost in the world.
Yeah. Because even in running Part 254, Bonnie is more of a visual and creative person than I am. So I was taking more administrative roles and very background again. Lost in the wall kind of roles. And not that I wanted to be out there on I want also the same space and I want to be called It wasn't that. But literally I was feeling the way I was feeling when I met Bonnie that first time. When life is monotonous, is this all there is to life? But again, maybe my kids always pull me out. And they don't even know this, but they pull me out and bring me back. Yeah, because it's easy to just get lost in it. And so by the time, Power 254 has been such an adventure. Meeting artists, and that's what I'm saying. Active artists who use art for change, and you can feel them pick up your faith. Even they don't know this, but your faith feels like it's being put together. Don't let it die yet. And it's like seeing their fight, seeing their struggle. It's like they put my faith like a rose, like flowers, back in the water, and you can feel the
water is coming in, and the petals are spreading out.
Yeah, they don't see it, they don't know it. They're just living their lives, they're doing them, but they give me so much life. Yeah, and because they're fighting and they want a better Kenya, they want a better community, they want a better life as women, they want a better life as youth, and they want to be able to provide for their families. They want to be able to own land. They want to be able to buy cars, to go to school, to thrive in fashion, or, big names in poetry or in music to do their bands and record and stuff. So they have dreams, they have aspirations, and they're chasing those dreams. So for us as power is to try as best as we can to move them or move their dreams along, to midwife them through up to wherever we can take them. One of my greatest joys, actually two, is Heart the Band. Walianzanga tu hapo, actually have many. Walianzanga tu hapo power. Ka stage hapo, wana kama boys wameparara, you know, shyish, trying to figure themselves out. I'm like, you guys. But now when you look at Heart the Band, Yani, they are my greatest joy. You know, them, even Giuliani, you could see them performing at, it was a small crowd, small space, but that's where they exercised, they practiced.
Nurtured, they got a space where they
they met, they collaborated, they affirmed each other, they challenged each other, they spurred one another, and look who they are today. You know, there's Teardrops, there's Mufasa, you
Sarabi.
know, there's Sarabi. It was those two spaces that they've gone and then become this big, they travel the world, you know. Their music is sought after, their poetry, they'll be called to big spaces, big platforms, and beyond the country. And for me, that means, that has, again, like I was saying, the flowers that are put back in, picked up, first of all, gathered, they put water, and they put me back. And I can feel the life in. And even when we leave that space, we hope that they can come and take it on and keep nurturing and mentoring others, providing the space and sharing of their experiences of where they've come from, the work that they have put in, because they have put in a lot of hard work to be where they are. And you see this generation of instant, I want to do a video, nieke TikTok, alafu nitakuwa na 1 million views, alafu I'll make it, nitalipwa for 1 million. No, it's about consistency, it's about hard work, a lot of hard work. It's
research,
about,
planning.
Even passion. What do you want to, what is your message? What is your story? Yeah. And how to package all that. Is this something you want to do? Or do you can also go for a full-time job. Yeah. Corporate, administrative, even that is a life. Well, some might argue that is not a life, but that is not a life is what puts food on their table, is what has sent them to school to be able to dream and do these things that they want to do. So it's respecting of persons. A meal is made of different things. There's beans, there's carrots, there's onions, there's tomatoes. We can't all be carrots.
Yeah.
We can't all be tomatoes. It takes all that mix to make a tasty meal. Yeah. So come to 2020, I've been trying to find myself.
But then you know, are you running 254 now? Power 254?
No, I wasn't running power even then. If anything, I wanted to exit. Literally just leave and maybe go and find my space in my art space.
So you still haven't like found?
No. In 2020, I am still now trying to pull myself out of the wall because it's sticky. But I realized I can actually get out of the wall, and so it was a tricky year. I mean, it was the year that we all thought was the end.
Yeah.
At the stroke of midnight, when the clock becomes, we are all going to die. And then we didn't die, but some people died. People we knew, and life was grinding to a halt. Just stay, nobody move.
Stay at home.
Yeah. Do your farewells. You never know. It felt like that for me. And I think we also really closed in as a family. Again, remember it was the year that that Softy was released. And it gave me an insight into Bonnie's life, a deeper insight into Nate's life especially, because I think he experienced most of the withdrawal or the absence. Because in the film you see him on Father's Day writing a card, but he writes "Dear Mom," and he refuses to talk about what that is about. Why are you writing it to mom and not to dad? Yeah, and so that insight for me is what I struggled with, but I thought I was only struggling with as a wife. But I see that my child has also been struggling with and cannot put the words into it. And I cannot put those words into him because I need him to find the words to express himself. So will he sing? Will he write? Will he... What will he do? How will he express himself? I still don't know how he'll express himself. Because I think that's a part of him that, for me, that film drew me to, and we haven't been able to fully dig into it. Even he. And sometimes our relationships clash because of that. So,
because you had a very public life.
Yeah.
For Boniface, for yourself, that was lived even on social media.
Yeah.
Photographs of you and the family on WhatsApp. I mean on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
And the image then that would be projected to everybody is this perfect family that have figured itself out. Good kids, Njeri, the wife of Boniface, and the kids, and they have it together. And you're giving us a glimpse into the other side.
I think that our public life came in 2020. I had intentionally tried to keep because Bonnie is a very public figure, and that was that. We had accepted. It's the way it was, the way it should have been. But I had tried very hard to keep his privacy, which means us, away from that public space. But 2020 was all about private space. Everybody retreated into their privacy. Yeah,
whether you wanted it or not.
Yes, you just did.
Yeah,
it broke some relationships. It broke some homes. Others, it really strengthened. Yeah, and Bonnie then became, even him, Softy exposed to him how activism has affected me and has affected the kids in a way that we had all never seen. So for him, it's like, wow, I need to be more present. I need to be, there are things that he decided for himself thanks to Softy. And that brought us a whole new journey. And then you started seeing us more. There was the Penda Familia, just capturing moments when we are together. Because it gave Bonnie, it humanized him. Because people will say, Bonnie akikuwa home, si anazushanga sana. I'm like, about what? Why do you think that what you see on the street is what you see in the house? He has no reason to fight me or the kids in the house. He's just a normal guy. Actually a very sweet guy at home. I'm a chill, People are like, serious? I'm like, gosh. Like, seriously, you would think he'd be...
bringing his activism home.
Yeah. To who and for what? What is not happening in the house that he needs to be the person that he is in the streets? Yeah. So just personifying him and humanizing him, that he's a father, and this is his relationship with his kids, and he's a husband, and this is our relationship, and parenting, and the challenges and the joys and the pains and all that. Maybe you don't see the pains per se. Of course, there's another level of privacy that you have to maintain. But we're just an ordinary family, and maybe others may not think ordinary, but those things that you wonder, should your kids have phones? Should your kids watch TV? Do they do their homework? Are they doing well in school? What should we do on the weekend? Let's chill at home. Let's do a family holiday. Ordinary in that
homework,
sense.
etc.
I believe these are things that happen in just about every home. Are you there when your kids are doing their homework? Why are you not? Can you do the homework? Kwa sababu saa zingine wazazi ndio wanafanyanga hiyo homework. Yeah? Can your kids be left at home? Your 13, 14, 15-year-old be left at home for 2 days because you're away for work? Can they cook? Can they clean? Why can't they? Should they? Yeah. What kind of kids are we raising? Can my kids survive on their own now?
Yeah, that's usually a
Can they make their
tricky
beds?
situation.
Can they wear clean clothes? Can they cook? Are they too young for it? Really? You know, because we let our kids until they're sijui 18, bado wanapikiwangwa, their beds are made. The only thing that is, the only thing they don't do is get washed.
Know how to use a matatu?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. On their own.
Not the younger ones. Yeah. We have never let them go out on their own. But yes, tumepanda matri several times with them. With all the neon lights. You're like, wow, it's wow.
Yeah.
Look, mommy, there's a TV. I'm like, yeah, there is a TV. And also, the matatu industry has really changed, you know. So, yes, they have. Nate will go on his own because we can't always afford Ubers. And we don't want, even if we can, we don't want that. Ni pesa yangu. I'm not going to spend it on Ubering you around. You want to go where? Shika Sombili. Figure out, I think it will get you to Westlands and back. You want to eat what? You figure it out. Either uende ka umeshiba, na ubebe maji. If you want to eat, you figure it out. So they've also learned to earn some money for themselves. They'll do some chores and say, can you pay me for this? Like, why am I paying you? No, because I'm like, okay. And also just learning to teach them how to save because of something they may want later. Because me, I'm not going to fund that. I can provide you with transport if I'm feeling generous, but no, I'm not going to.
It's not an entitlement.
No. And you know, our kids also are exposed to other kids who have a driver, have a dedicated vehicle. If they want to go anywhere, the driver will take them, wait for them, and bring them home.
And chefs.
No, me, even if I had the money, that's not what I want to do for them. They need to be able to get around. And I think one other problem that a lot of schools are making, and maybe not public schools, but we're not teaching our children Kiswahili. Like recently, I found out that mandatory subject is now French. I'm like, why are we teaching our children? Why am I not seeing Kiswahili? Why do they have to? And then there's an unallocated time which they're allowed to speak in Kiswahili. Otherwise, all the other times they should speak in English. And I'm like, you're raising these children to be servant leaders where? Yes, they can be global, but they can't serve in this country because they can't speak to the common average Kenyan because they can't communicate in Swahili. They can't understand them. They can't communicate to them. So why are we then saying, let's let them learn? And it's not an option. It's French has become, in the school that they go to, it has become a mandatory subject. So I shoot it down and I say, no, let's teach our children Kiswahili. That must be the mandatory because our children will be with people in the homes, even in the village. And if we're not taking our children to the village, where are our children connecting? What are they connecting to history? Even we as parents
are they getting grounded?
Where are they getting grounded? Kanisani too. And also that's a conversation you can pack there and say, let's unpack this on its own as church. Yeah, because even that has brought its own problems. But I think that said, the challenge of parenting, which is what we are in now, children don't come with manuals. And you don't come with a manual yourself of how you will raise them. Also, every child is different.
And every family is different.
Every family is different as well. So being gracious with yourself as a parent, owning up responsibility of raising this child, because otherwise this child is having to figure out their life because you're too busy doing God knows what, adulting, as we say, and forgetting that you need to be parenting as well. And these children, like I said, tumekaa hapa na yeye exposed to the same amount of information online. I'm processing it however I'm processing it. In their young mind, they're processing it however they're processing it. Then they also have peer pressure, which might go and reinterpret these things. So where are you as a parent? Yeah. And you can't back out on this one. You can't. And it's a lifetime responsibility. So you have to guide your child in the kind of person that you want them to be, because ultimately utaachwa na mtoi is addicted to God knows what, struggling with what, because you picked other things over them, and now they have found ways of coping with life. And you have to handle that. You have to be responsible for that. Because are you going to let them go to jail? Are you going to let them take those drugs and just be whatever they want to be, wherever they want to be? So again, it will come. Itakuramba tu baadaye.
Do you
So
feel
take
like,
care of it
as
now.
a wife, mother, like you have to be the rock of the family, and part of the reason I'm asking this is, I mean, I've had occasions where Boniface has publicly stated at some point that there's a time you actually told him not to go back to the streets. There's a time he was getting threats from politicians or supporters of politicians. And you're like, you're not going to the streets again. So you kind of had to also mother him as you're mothering the kids. Then there's a time when you decided to run for office. I think a lot of you, especially, and a lot of us were like, don't do it. It's not what the. Do you feel like you have to be a mother to also your husband sometimes?
Boni has a mind of his own. And he makes his own decisions. Contrary to what he may make people believe, he makes his own decisions. And yes, maybe I have a bit of influence on that. But I think for me, as a mother, there's what I want for my kids. I can't want, as a father, what I want for my kids. I can hope that they can get that from their father. But I have, again, 104% responsibility on the kind of mother I can be and want to be. Yeah. So we as parents, if I see that the kids need this from him and he can't see it, then I have a responsibility to tell him, okay, you need to talk to your son about this. I don't know how to approach this. And I think he will hear it better coming from you than from me. And I leave it at that, So the challenge of parenting is such that, for me, maybe you might call it mothering as well for him, but I just think it's that partnership. I know. But I think it's a partnership where I'm like, kai hivi kidogo. I think hapa hivi, or turn the other way, or let's not show up for this. And again, like I said, I believe God put me in his life to slow him down and him to speed me up in some ways. Yeah.
So it's symbiotic.
Yes. And I may not say this is the place where he sped me up, this is the place where I slowed him down, but I believe that that is the nature of our relationship, because I am a tortoise in that sense, and he's, what's that fastest animal? He's a tiger. He's a leopard.
According to African traditional stories, it's the hare. But we know it's the cheetah.
It's a hare. Ataenda mbio. And me, I can be a tortoise and move slowly. And sometimes if you want to move together, you can string this tortoise and drag it on its back kidogo. But also you can be a very heavy tortoise and this thing imechoka haiwezi kuvuruta sana. So it tend a little bit slower. And I find like that's God's way of balancing us. Yeah. And for me, I think what also keeps me going is relationships. My friends who I consider very close. I've lost a lot of friends also. I guess because of the busyness of life. Someone calls me, I'll call you back, I'll text you, and they try again, and it's weeks, and I don't remember. Then I remember, oh my gosh. And that friendship has slowly just dried up because I haven't been a present friend. And yeah, in that sense, I have lost some friends, or I'm just not available. Yes, we'll talk, but I'll not be available. So you stop asking because I'm never available. And by the time I notice, it's been 2-3 years since we last spoke.
It's hard to pick that up.
It stings. So some I have been able to pick up. Some I've just let them go because honestly, I will still not be able to come. But the ones that I have managed to stay with, I have tried to be present. I will show up for whatever. I'll also invite you for whatever. I'll create opportunities or moments where we can hang out. And also talk. I guess women also just talk more easily about anything and everything, depending with who you're talking to. And that has helped that I can speak to, I have friends that I can talk to about anything. Yeah. And I wish that guys would have the same security to talk to a friend and really open up about stuff. And sometimes just talking. It's not so you give me a solution.
We are learning.
Yeah, it's not so you give me a solution.
You're starting to get in touch with the emotions.
Please do. Funny so emotions. Please do, because sometimes just in the talking and you feel lighter. Yeah. And I may share my story and you will get your answer. Not because you asked me to give you a solution, but I shared my story and you're like, I know what to do. I actually know what I'm supposed to do now. Yeah. And you might not even tell me that, but you will go and do whatever. You might just get an aha moment and you're like, and go and do it. And then, where it had gone crooked, it straightens. So that for me has been a big deal with friendships and relationships and nurturing those, because otherwise you live in your head where there are walls, where there are obstacles, where things don't happen. Or can happen, but they can't happen in the real world. Yet you live in a real world, So a lot of times you need to get out of your head and make you touch, feel, see, make things happen. Yeah.
From the point where you are struggling in a relationship, now been married 18 years, where did you find equilibrium? And I mean, from looking out from out here, it looks like you guys have a happy marriage with the usual struggles. There's no perfect relationship. Family, there are always, challenges and all that, but I think you've figured it out. How is it going?
Yeah. I think there's 100%. There's 100%, right? And at any given time, I'm giving 100% and he's giving 0%. He's giving 100%, I'm giving 0%. He's giving 80, I'm giving 20, vice versa. It's 50, it's 50. And that always depends on what's happening in our lives in that moment. And it's not I would say a choice you make, I'm going to give 50 peke yake. She has to bring the other 50. No. This is what's happening now. I need to pull in all the weight.
That relationship, when you start measuring, actually doesn't work.
Yeah. It will not. I give most of this, after he doesn't, or no. And then you see, I can give one thing so well, and that's his weakness. He can't apatikani. And then he can do another thing so well,
Well,
in fact, when I try, it just becomes bad. So just giving what you can and seeing what is needed and just being there. If you have the energy, the time, the strength, then you do that, because it doesn't always stay that you will be giving 100%. And when you start, like you said, you're right. When you start measuring, then it is never enough. And you will always see like you're always giving more. Because that's what you think. And you're trying to balance it. It has to be 50-50. Occasionally, it will be 50-50. But sometimes I'm giving 100% or 99% and you're bringing in 1%. And that's financially, that's emotionally, that's physically. Whatever is happening in your life, whatever is happening in my life. And I think that, and I laughed when you said we've figured it out. No, we haven't. We still struggle. And that's why I'm talking about the 99% and the 1%. That is, it depends with which side or what time of year or day that you're looking at it. Yeah. And I think even the kids know that. Or maybe they will not interpret it the way I'm interpreting it for sure. But sometimes dad is very present and home. And his style of being home and present is very different from mine. Him, when he's home, maybe they will be required to read books a lot. Unasoma kitabu gani wewe? And me, when I'm home, who's making popcorn? Grab a blanket. Me, I want that blanket. Me, I want to sit on this chair. What movie are we watching? You know, lights off. No, let's put that one off. No. Put it on the surround. And it's very different. When they go out, where they will go, what they will do is very different from what they will do with me. Me, I might pinch the penny. I'm like, let's eat at home, and then we can go and have ice cream or Planet Yogurt or whatever. With their dad, they don't eat anything in the house. We'll eat out today. Like
and I guess that's what I meant by figuring it out. Like finding some balance.
Sometimes the balance becomes imbalanced so bad. Yeah. I like to think of it as those percentages, shifting percentages depending with. Because even on days he would say, let's eat out. The other days he'll say, kwani hakuna food home? Because we are broke. Like, whoa. Hakuna nyama kwa fridge. Kuna leftover. You know, kuna leftover. What's there? Remove everything that's left over. Let's see what we can put together. Because we're so broke, you know. Yet other days he'll be like, don't eat. In fact, tell the house to go for the weekend. Asikama hata kidogo. We got this. It will be takeout after takeout. Like, kuna tu pesa. So I like to think of it that as that percentage, shifting percentage. Because of life. I mean, life is so unpredictable. And it can completely take the wind off your sails. Yet you are going this way. Financially, even just wellness. You feel sick, you feel unable to whatever. And it's about covering each other. I hold you and give you the space and the time to be alone, to just chill. I got this. I'll drop the kids to school. I'll pick them. I'll go for the meetings. I will take them out for the weekend. You can watch movies today. You can stay home and just sleep or whatever. It's fine. Because in another 2-3 weeks, maybe that's what I need. Yeah. Just that alone, quiet time.
Or some work will come and you'll not be present. And
you're traveling. You'll be away from, and on special days, don't forget to go for Nate's game. Don't forget Naila has this. Make sure this and the other. And it's not like you go, you fall off and like you hibernate. You're there, so you'll make the calls, you'll be present. If you're watching a movie, maybe that's not your thing, but you will be there. Boni used to come and watch movies with us, then he'd sleep, as in 10 minutes into the movie.
He slept.
And the kids would complain, Dad doesn't even watch movies with us. He sleeps. I'm like, let me tell you, of importance is that he's here. He's not anywhere else, he's here. So let's just appreciate that he's here. And then even on days they'll be watching something, I'm the one that will fall asleep. So are you going to complain that I slept? Even you sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you pointing fingers? If he's tired, of importance is that we are together. So we would be watching a movie and 30 minutes in, we all fall asleep. Maybe one person will wake up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But we will not leave the living room until iishe. Na hatutaamshana. Mali utaamkia, utawatch, uendelee ulale. Ikiisha, maybe we will sleep. We will not know how long ago. But that we were just there together. And for me, those are the things.
Think of a family.
Yeah.
You know,
and
being
for me,
comfortable in that space.
Yes. And for me, that's what I say. I'm grateful that we get to be together like that. You know, it's not that you look around and you're like, Dad is not here. Mom is not here. She's never here. No, it's that when we are together, we are just there. And it's perfect in that imperfectness. You know, stop looking for that perfect. Perfect. I don't even know what that looks like. Stop looking for that perfect.
There's no perfection in life, actually.
But people seek perfection, you know? And people seek to be right. About what? People seek to be normal. Yeah?
By what measure?
By what standards? Yeah.
Njeri the biker. You know, you asked me how you dress for this, and I was like, come as Njeri, because this is about you, humanizing you, telling your story. And you came dressed as a biker, and we have the helmet here. Who's Njeri?
I came riding my bike.
Yeah.
I did not necessarily come dressed as a biker. I wear really nice clothes underneath. But then because I ride, I don't get to wear dresses much. Even my choice of shoes is very limited because I have to ride in boots.
Yeah.
ukanipata weekend nasema Allah yani unakuanga na dress, you wear dresses. I do, because when I get a chance to wear a dress I will, and to dress up my two shoes. But now
when
when
you're going
I'm,
for family functions, weddings,
yes,
things,
by the way, I will
out with
really
the guys.
dress. I'll really dress up. But normally you will find me in my bike gear. I prefer to, riding is fun. I've met a whole community. I start again. Remember how I met Bonnie? Then somewhere along
and
the
first
way,
thing was the first date was on a bike.
Yes. Somewhere along the way he stopped riding. He said he slept, had a very vivid dream. Following day aliamka, akaosha bike na akaipiga bei. Gone, and he stopped riding. I mean, I can count in the last 7-8 years how many times he's ridden. Maybe in one hand. He's ridden very few times. Apart from the 2017 when he was doing the campaign, he probably rode a little bit more. But for me, it's some think time, it's some alone time. It has a Bluetooth speaker, so I can be on a call with a friend on a ride. I can be listening to music. I can be listening to a book or a podcast, and it's not loud inside. It's just like a small surround. Yeah. And I don't have to sit in traffic like endlessly. And it's fun. And then the people I have met in the bike circles.
What did you learn?
Professionals. Huh?
How did you move from, being Bonnie carrying you on a bike to you riding? When did that happen?
See, then the rise of bodas. Alafu nikajiuliza siku moja, these bodas who I don't even know whether they learned last night how to ride or they are drunk when they come to pick me, I entrust my whole life. Yani mimi mama kina nani, nimejiwekelea hapo na mtu sijui na why can't I learn how to ride? Also because Bonnie had a bike, I was like, this is something I can do. The only reason I didn't start riding as sooner was because I then had kids and I didn't want to start riding until at least they were walking. So 2014, I started riding. By then, our last born was 3. And so since then, I've been riding.
I've seen you pull stunts.
I don't pull stunts. I don't pull stunts. I've done
not serious stunts, but just riding
standing
with your legs apart or whatever.
The things I did not think are possible. But I think one of my greatest achievements as a biker was riding to Rwanda and on a very big bike that I had borrowed a friend. It was
alone or with a group?
An adventure in many ways. We rode as 6 ladies. And my bike had problems. It kept, the battery would discharge or me, I don't know what was happening. It was just crazy. Even though the owner had not had any problems. When I took the bike, I didn't open it, nothing. Ilienda na ikasavisiwa pia, everything was fine. But the ride to Rwanda was a bit of a challenge. But bikers are very generous people. I think when you wear the helmet or when you own the helmet and have been on a bike, there's a level of humanity and brotherhood and sisterhood that it comes with, and responsibility to other bikers. Because if I fall and I make a phone call, I will be surrounded by bikers.
So you guys are like what one do even like
ni kama. By the way, ni kama, because we just show up for each other. Yeah. And I was telling someone here earlier about art guards, all the gear, all the time. You have your knee guards, you have your gloves, you have your helmet. Because when you go to driving school, they don't teach you about all the other road users. They teach you as a driver. The rest of you inakuanga ni kama hapo kwa side, nika unaibia unapitia kwa it's like you're trespassing. They don't talk about pedestrians. They don't talk about
mikokoteni. Bikers are on these on our roads.
But it's because it starts from driving school. We don't acknowledge the other road users. We have people on wheelchairs. We have mikokotenis. We have pedestrians. We have bikers. We have cyclists, and then you have the drivers. But the drivers are on the road as if all these others are trespassers. And they have this entitlement. And
this is the time now some of our roads are starting to have special bike lanes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that has never been there.
Exactly. And we've had a lot of accidents. And yes, I mean, let me own up to the fact that there's There are reckless riders. Yeah. But also there are drivers who don't care about other road users.
I've seen drivers block off a bike.
Yeah.
Or a bike is trying to overtake them. They're like, why you like you kanyanga mafuta. You don't think the bike has right of way or deserves to be on the road?
When we went to Rwanda, we started out as just fun. But because we got a lot of publicity, we're like, what can we talk about? So in our experience, we realized East Africa and, like you said, making lanes for pedestrians, making lanes for bikers are not there. So then, hii barabara ndio iko. Sisi ndio tuko. So let's share the road. Until such a time as we are now coming into, where roads are being made with consideration of other road users. But the campaign was really born out of the reality that there's just that road, or everyone is on it. I will walk on the road because there's no footpath. When it rains also, it's so muddy, it's so whatever, I will walk on the lami because where else do I walk? Yet not all of us. The greatest population in East Africa, probably in Africa, is the ones on foot, the people walking. But the infrastructure that exists only is made for drivers. Footpaths,
car drivers.
Yeah. There's no footpaths, there's no cyclist lanes, there's no biker lanes. Those things are unheard of. They're starting to come now. So maybe that's how
there's always this thing of like riding a bike, whether it's a motorbike or a cycle, was backward.
Yeah.
Being sophisticated or civilized is having a car.
And that's what everybody aspired to be or to own. So I think that space is slowly changing. And mafuta pia imepanda. So a lot of people are considering, can I cycle to work? Can I buy a motorbike? Can I get a scooter?
Traffic also.
Traffic is also becoming insane. So it's becoming more widespread to find not just women on bikes, but also just people are riding more or are trying to get into it. Also, people are walking more. People have packed their cars now because they're even considering to sell the car because life is becoming so much more expensive.
I think yesterday I read that the fuel has gone down by patches of fuel. Like 5 years. The last time it was at these levels 5 years ago. Yeah,
because people have packed their cars. Yeah. And is public transport becoming more reliable? If we make public transport more reliable, I think this whole conversation of even climate change would shift because there'd be less cars on the road. People would walk more if it was safer and if public transport was more affordable, available. Now you can't rely on public transport, where does the access, some places you just can't access without public transport. With public transport. They're inaccessible. So either you walk very long distances or you have to Uber, which is expensive. So for me, riding is fun. I recently climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with my daughter. She summited at 12 years old. Yeah. Wow. And that climb was, it was okay until the last day of the summit. That was struggle of the will. It was very difficult. And my daughter got so sick, but she went all the way to the top, even feeling sick. And that chick is a champ. Sick or it's her? Okay. She threw up like 4 times. Me, I was ready to go down with her. But then we were separated. The guys we went with were amazing. Stayed with her, encouraged her. That, she can make it, she can do it. And then I think because I was ahead, she wanted to get to me. So she made it to the summit. And when we came down and when we were celebrating, she said, so what do we do next? I was like, wow. We recover from the climb.
She was, that's
and I told her our next expedition, we're going to ride. Maybe we'll go to Addis or we can go to South Africa. Then I laughed. Then I told her, but you have to be over 18 for you to get
bike license.
That's in very many years. So we need to find something in between. Instead, we'll figure it out, And so
she's taken that adventurous spirit from you.
Yeah, she has completely. And so for me, the possibilities and the limitations, we've gone to, I ride with Throttle Queens, which is also a part of the Women Bikers Association. And so I
was actually going to ask whether there's an association.
Yeah, there are different women biker groups. There's Women Bikers Association, there's Inked Sisterhood, there's Piki Dada, there's Throttle Queens. I hope I'm not forgetting another one because the girls will not like it. But there's different groups, and our aspiration is just to encourage women to ride. Like this month, every year for the last maybe 5 years now, we have a cancer ride every October. And every biker group has its own calendar of activities. Some are known for environmentalism, some are known for road safety, some are known for different things, and they champion for those different campaigns. But every year together we do a cancer ride. It's the Cancer Awareness Month. So we do a ride together, go fundraise, help women who have had mastectomy or have survived cancer, maybe through therapy, maybe through medication, maybe through prosthetics. And then give talks also, health talks and health checks, cancer checks every
so much
year.
biking.
Yes.
Wow.
All these just bikers have organized and they do for the last few years. And the Private Bikers Association of Kenya has really also grown because it's a representative of private bikers across the country. So whether it's coast or there is Njeri, there is Kisumu, there's eastern. But you see, you encourage bikers to get together, and then the Private Bikers Association can support in whatever way they can to that. And now we're trying to also do rides across the country so that all these biker groups can meet. So we invite them, or we go to where they are. Some bikers just like to go long distance. So those who want to, they can. But also if you're a newbie, then there's a community that will support you get from home, because it gets very scary to get on the road on your bike. Oh my God, I'm going to die.
That's the other thing I was going to ask, like safety, especially for women.
So interestingly enough, since I started riding in 2014, we have not lost a woman biker apart from one that was hit by a drunk driver in Kiserian. And she had started riding, I think it was under either 2 months or under 6 months. I think under 2 months. But she was hit by a drunk driver. So it was not she did anything. And we've had very few even injuries on women bikers. So there's something that women bikers do right, whatever that may be. I can speak for myself. I think we are more cautious probably in how we ride. I look at bodas, the one where I think I should wait. Some bikers have already pitted me.
Yeah.
I'm like, Aki, that was close. Uyo angegongwa. Yeah. We also gear up. Most women bikers will fully gear up. All the gear, all the time, at gut. Yeah. What that means is if someone falls, you will easily stand up and get home that same day. Your bike may be a mess, but even if you are injured, it's nothing serious. It's nothing. We will not come and visit you in hospital.
That is proper boots.
Yes. So it's boots, it's knee guards, it's shin guards also. Some people do shin guards. My knee guards also stretch to the shin. And then it's a jacket that has a pad in the back on the shoulders and the elbows. Yeah, it's protective. And then a good helmet.
And the spine sometimes.
It's the jacket has a back support. So if you are to fall, and the helmet, of course. I mean, if you have nothing else, please have a helmet, because you can walk with a limp all your life, or your hand will heal. You can break a limb, but your head injury.
There are these. I think most of our hospitals have special biker wards.
Yeah,
people are with crazy injuries.
They have bike specialized wards for bike injuries. And I struggle with that, because why would the government then create that instead of try and avoid, preventative? What can they do to prevent these accidents than create more room and more wards for those accidents? Because they can be reduced. Yeah, so make sure that people are gearing up. Make sure that people are not speeding.
They are trained also. I think a lot of people are boda guys have never gone for driving school.
I'm telling you, mtu alipewa bike jana usiku. Kama ni kuonyesha vile uta ride. niko na bike ingine home, unaweza anza biashara. They're not registered, they don't have licenses. That's why most of them, when they get hit, they run away because their bikes are not insured. I mean, it's just, they'd rather not get caught by the cops because that's a whole other problem. And then they will go and die because they could not go to hospital also. And they have no insurance, not for the bike, not for themselves. So I think riding comes with its own responsibility and awareness of the risks that are at play. But for me, I say you will meet your death when your time comes. It has come. However, it will come. I had a friend who died. He had just gone jogging and he got hit by a canter. And for me, I think that's the time I realized when people tell me riding is dangerous, I'm like, is it? Why are you saying this? Because you speak from a driver's perspective or because of what you've seen? Because that guy was jogging. Was that dangerous?
There are other guys who have been hit when you're riding a bicycle.
There's also a friend of mine, the dad died from choking. He had gone to, a friend came and said, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's go have kanyama and, have a drink. He died when they were just sharing a meal. So I'm like, live your life. Live your life responsibly. Because when your time comes, it has come. And we can't say that he should not have gone to eat meat. That's something he can't eat now. You can't say he should have not gone jogging. You can't say she should not have been riding, But we have to live our best lives and enjoy life to the best of our ability. Being grateful, enjoying what we have, and counting your blessings. Yeah.
That ride from Kenya to Rwanda, are there any differences riding in Kenya, riding in Uganda, riding in Rwanda?
Let me first say the similarity. The one road where everybody is and the attitude towards bikers is the same.
It's the same.
In Rwanda, though, first of all, in Kenya, there's women bikers. In Uganda and in Rwanda, especially in Rwanda, they were even shocked that women ride. So the reception was of wonder. Yani ama walikuwa wamebebwa. And we rode in with big bikes, so they were like, what the hell, But in Uganda, I know one biker who rides, a lady, Queen Angela. And then there's many men bikers, of course. But then Kenya, you see there's a lot of women bikers. There's such a vibrant community.
Wairo, Wairo Kenyori, I don't know that she's part of you.
Who's that?
Wairo Kenyori.
There's so many of us now.
Wairo used to be at Oxfam. I don't know. Maybe you don't know. Yeah.
Or maybe I know her, Nikimona. I'm like, because when we meet, we are all in gears. We do not know who is corporate, who is lawyer, who is doctor. We are just the same. No one wears any title. And I love that about bikers.
It equalizes everything.
Yes, completely. And everybody's so comfortable and at ease with each other until you go into somebody's office. Then you're like, oh my gosh, hi. Wow.
Yeah.
But I think the similarities is that attitude of drivers towards bikes. And then there's that the roads don't have provision for other road users. But riding is almost a survival. It's everybody wants to kill me. So you have to, so some run away from those who are trying to kill you. Some are just cautious. You're just, unasonga hivi ndio mtu asikuguze. Juu akikuguza wanaweza vuka na wewe. So there's that carefulness about being on a bike. So that I would say is the similarities. I don't know what to call of differences.
So there are no special bike lanes in Rwanda or in Uganda. It's the same.
No,
you're competing
same.
for the same road.
Yeah. It's you're competing for the same road. I think in Rwanda they're very organized for sure, because when the lights are red, hakuna mtu atapita. You wait for the lights to go green and then everybody goes. Of course, in Kenya, all know
the bikes are the first ones to.
Yeah, they do not even wait for the green. They just they go. And maybe that's why we record higher rates of accidents for bikers. So if you look at the statistics over the years for bike accidents and even pedestrians and cyclists, you then see But cyclists don't hit themselves to death. They run over. Biker community circles, we say, bikers don't die, they're killed. Because it's drivers who feel like bikers are trespassing.
They should not be on the road. Yeah.
That just hit them. But also, I must acknowledge that bikers can also feel invisible and they want to, and then they go and hit a car. Yeah. And when, especially we're on that speed, it is more often than not fatal. Because you will hit the car, you will either snap your neck or your back, and then it will throw you like miles away, you know, or rather a few meters away, and you tanguka. So internal injuries.
Land on you also.
The bike can also land on you. So it's all that. And I think being aware of that and being careful about that, then your level of responsibility lies heavily with you as the rider. And for me, I say you must have insurance. You can't choose to be on a bike and not have insurance, because the burden you then live with your family when you're, if God forbid you're injured, is so huge, you know. Yet if you had medical cover, it can help you get proper medical care. Even for other bikers, if I'm riding with you and something happens to you, I don't want you lying on the road for so long because I don't know where to take you.
Yeah, you can't go to a hospital.
Yeah, I take you to a clinic or a chemist, first of all. Saidia, please. Because you don't have anything. You don't have insurance. You don't even have NHIF. Yeah? So I think we have a responsibility to that end, to our families and to our friends, to have medical cover, because you never know that if or when you will need it. You just need and must have it. Yeah.
Fascinating conversation. I want to ask you as we end this conversation, because I know we can't cover your life in this short time. To those who are losing faith, especially in this country, governance, ability to fix it, what is your message?
I think there is hope. But the hope is not necessarily up there. When you point, there's three fingers that we have more responsibility than the one we are pointing at. And we are so good at pointing at that we forget these are also pointing, but at you. So we need to fix ourselves. We need to care more for each other. We need to be more trustworthy amongst ourselves in our responsibilities. It is not the president who is stealing in hospital. It is not the president who is stealing the books from the children. Yeah, it is us. It is you and me out here, you know. So we need to start fixing ourselves, our systems, and not waiting for a whip. Even if the president was to whip, by the time he comes around, the ones who are whipped first, uchungu iliisha na washarudia into their habits. Yeah, so we have to bear the responsibility to fix our country. It does not just lie with our leaders. And we are more than they are. We are more than they are. These three, these three are pointing at me. We are more as a people than they are. We can change this country. And I firmly believe so, because when we change ourselves, then we expect more from our leaders and of our leaders. And we shall begin to even vote right. Because the question of integrity, tuna votingi mwizi wetu, yeah, mtu wa tribe yetu. But where has that gotten us? Over the years, as in we've been beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten. But where has that gotten us? Yeah,
it's like we're not learning any lessons.
How can we not be learning? So as these young people are coming up, I think they are more removed from that tribal party sort of orientation, and they're very issue focused. And I hope we can be more issue focused, because if we are more issue focused, then we can fix this country's issues away from the politics, away from the tribal. Yeah, and that's where our hope lies. If we don't conduct ourselves, our businesses truthfully and honestly, then tutakulana na tutakulwa na tutamalizana kwa hii country. Kitaturamba sote. We have the power to fix this country. And we can remove anyone from any political office, because we are more than they are, and with the right focus, and if we uphold integrity and we have values that are for building and raising this country, then we can do that. Again, we are more than they are. Yeah?
I think we just need to be better organized.
Yeah. Even, and that's what I'm saying. It's very basic, from that very basic level, that we are truthful in our dealings. See, I mean, these stories we've seen, unanunua potatoes. Somebody has put sijui what, half of it. So here it's just like whatever. So akikuwekea, what have they put for you? There's a guy we buy meat from. The nice meat is put up here. So ukikuja kuangalia, you look at the whatever, you're like, this is good, pack it. Ukifika home, uko chini kuna bones mob na mafuta mob. Hata ujui kama ilikuwa leftover ya sijui when. But up here the meat was good, and this is what you've paid for, the whole bag. So it's not that he was giving you meat for dogs, kuchini, but it looks like it is. Yeah. So just that honesty, that trustworthiness. We all need to be people who can be trusted, and we've really lost that
sense of utu.
And we need to have integrity, and pick leaders that have integrity, not people of questionable character, because that questionable character is that's who they are. They're not pretending that they're something else. It's who they are. So you can't expect somebody who's been a thief to go and not be a thief. You've just given him more resources to steal from. You've expanded his basket from where he can steal. Yeah? And that's the only way we can elevate our country. And it is doable. It is doable. Because there's more... I don't know if people are tired. Me, I'm just so tired. And that's what I'm talking about, that losing faith. But then... it's being built, and the moment that Nini starts moving,
gets traction.
It's like a magnet. It will just move. Transformer. Yeah.
So there's hope.
There is hope. There is hope. I'm a journalist, and so as an activist, like I said, 2020, life just grinded and shifted. But I became an activist. I became a journalist. And realized that activism really is about active citizens driving change. Yeah, in your sphere of influence, whether you're a doctor, a teacher, you're influencing for positive change. So, as a journalist doing investigative work, that's also a sphere of influence where you shine light brightly on where there's something wrong, and the people doing the wrong there get removed so that this soil can grow whatever the seeds that it has, the good seed, the good plant. Because the people that are doing wrong are like poison to the soil. So whatever is growing is weak, is spoiled, it's not rich, it's poisonous. And then, so the work that investigative journalists do is to remove that venom, is to remove that poison from the soil. Yeah. And I think some of the stories I've done, is it some? The other one, there is the most recent one, I think it's under investigation. That, I mean, this country takes a while. But the two stories that have been published, they've led to convictions and long, like lifetime convictions. Because the people have done baby stealers of children that were being stolen from mothers in the streets and children from Mamalusi Kibaki Hospital. And the conviction came with the social worker from the hospital that was then charged with 3 counts of child trafficking. And each count attracts 30 years. So this man is looking at 90 plus years, because it was child trafficking, it was conspiracy to commit trafficking and child neglect. And alongside with his colleague, who was charged with child neglect because this happened under her watch, she should have done better. Yeah. So she also has that responsibility. While it was happening, where were you? How did this happen under your watch? So even she had that responsibility. The other one was about forced to beg, children that are trafficked from Tanzania and are brought to the streets of Nairobi to beg. Yeah. And the same sentence of child trafficking, it was a Tanzanian who was bringing them. In fact, the baby stealer's story, it was picked for an Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
So it was a big story because it touches on a lot of the story of a lot of people across Africa. So it touched all around. And then the other one for Forced to Beg, the kids in the streets, the disabled children, again, child trafficking. And the guy was also sentenced to 30 years.
How are you
because
presenting the stories on video? Like us?
On video, it's on YouTube, BBC.
Okay.
And you see the investigative, we investigate this for over a year. So it's, you have to have had evidence and it is documented, not written or anything. There's a camera that comes and you can be seen in the act. So si ati nakuja kusema nilimuona. You can deny. So it's had evidence that the courts have been able to use to convict. And I mean, it's undeniable. So again, as an activist, you find the platform that you can use. It doesn't have to be grand. It's just about making a difference, making a change, positive change where you are. And that's what makes you an activist. It's not a big
it's
thing.
interesting that your first relationship with journalism initially was resistance, and then you find that I've also found the things that, I mean, nowadays I call myself mwalimu. I taught in high school as a UT because I couldn't find a job. And I wasn't really happy about that phase of my life. But now I'm very proud of to have been a teacher. And I saw how that has helped me navigate life, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that your journalism now and your training has helped your activism.
Yeah, I told you my story, how it starts and where it is, how it started, how it's going. Yeah, because me and journalism, wow. And I not only married a journalist, I am now a journalist myself. So, yeah.
Full circle.
But it's also about serving the underserved, representing the marginalized, and creating opportunities and enabling those who can easily be forgotten, because those who have money just may not even understand their privilege. But sometimes if you show them these things, they are more generous and they're more empathetic and they're more willing to share. But that's not everybody. But there are those who assume that life for everybody is like this. But when they see this other side, they're like, wow,
because you're putting
I've never seen this. Yeah. It's literally looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, wow. Some people don't like what they see and they change that. Some people don't care. Some people actually use the misfortunes of others to rise. Yeah. Intentionally.
They profit.
Intentionally. Yeah. So I think just being an active citizen is a deliberate choice because it just not only affects you, even though that can be where you start from, that you're inspired by something that happened to you and you want to change that. I mean, there are doctors who became doctors because they saw their parents struggle or their siblings and said, I don't want to ever see somebody else die. I'm going to study medicine. Or struggle, I'm going to study medicine. So it can come from
other lawyers the same.
Even lawyers the same. Yeah. So that's wherever your inspiration comes from. So long as you just want to make a difference, I think you will always make a difference if that is if that's what drives you and it's genuine.
So you can make a difference wherever you are, wherever you're professional.
Even however old you are. Yeah. So let's not put it as a lofty thing out there that you have to have media. I mean, no. It's make a difference wherever you are. If you're a teacher, if you're a Sunday school teacher, you know, if you're a doctor, if you're hata mama mboga tu hapo mjini, because it's about keeping the environment. What is it that bothers you? It's the thing that bothers you that you want to change, whatever that is.
Actually, I normally say that every Kenyan should be an activist, every human being, because at some point there's a point of discomfort. There's something that you know should be going right in a certain, and if it's not, then it's your responsibility to usiulize watu wakanje wako wapi ama nini. What can I do at that particular moment? Including even trying to hold whoever is responsible to account so they come and do their job.
It's what I was saying. The three fingers that are pointing at you and the one. So can we work together? Because again, like a meal. We can't all be carrots. We can't all be tomatoes. So you're a carrot. There's the flavor that you bring to this meal. I am an onion. There's the flavor that I bring to this meal. So we have to work together. Otherwise, you can't eat, or you also can't eat onions alone. And even if you can, for how long? But put together, you can always eat that mix together, made differently. So we need to realize what difference we can make, because we don't have to live complaining. We need to start finding ways to celebrate the good that is going on, because it's there. But we are so focused, and I think we're a traumatized nation, that we see the evil and the wrong, and we speak more and more and more and more of that, and we look for it, and we find it everywhere because it is there. But the same way, if we look for the good that is happening, we shall see it and we shall find it, because it's also there. Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. Thank you so much, Njeri Mwangi.
Yes, I will always be.
Yeah, Njeri Mwangi, for making time, for honoring the Uzalendo Podcast. And we hope to keep having this conversation, but also to keep encouraging each other, providing leadership that as you're doing as an activist, as a wife to an activist, as a leader with power to fight for, because I think now you're running the organization.
Yeah.
And let's pick up the conversation sometime soon in the future.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a great honor. And I look forward to this and more engagements, and hearing about other people's stories of change. Yeah, so thank you.